Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we got a few different topics I want to go over before tonight's Game 4 of the NBA Finals. First topic, we're going to kind of talk about how there's been a tweet that's gone a little bit viral around the Thunder community / NBA community about the possibility of not keeping Chet, so we'll kind of talk about that. We'll talk about how I believe that we need more Isaiah Hartenstein minutes in the rest of the NBA Finals to kind of get the Thunder over the hump. We'll go over the keys in the game to Game 4 and what I think the Thunder need to do to win, and then I'll give you my predictions on Game 4. But the tweet that came out, I believe it was after the Game 3 loss yesterday, and a Thunder person tweeted out that should the Thunder consider trading Chet or not extending him when that time comes, because for J-Dub and Chet, next year is their last deal on their rookie contract. So in the 2027 offseason, both of them will become free agents if the Thunder don't extend them. And there's already been a bunch of speculation and talks about, are the Thunder going to try to extend them this offseason so we don't even have to stress about that next season and we have our core set up? And then there's talks about how that will affect the Thunder if they get into that second apron, because the second apron has kind of been the killer of the new dynasty or big three. As you saw with the Celtics, they hit that second apron, and now you're going to have people like Porzingis, Drew Holiday, all becoming free agents, and you can't sign them because of that second apron. But back to the Chet thing, and I kind of brought it up a couple videos ago about the possibility of the Thunder trading Chet. And this, for me, this has nothing to do with his ability or how good of a player he is, because I believe his ceiling is higher than J-Dub's, and I think eventually he can become an all-around better player than J-Dub. I believe his defense is better. His finishing to me is better. He can handle the ball. So to me, it's just a thing of, do you think, one, Chet can stay healthy enough to be worth that contract extension where you're going to pay him $200 million, $250, somewhere in there? And if he actually fits in your long-term goals, is he going to be the third option or second option on a team that you can legitimately think can be a part of a dynasty? And there's been a lot of talks about this, and for me, it just comes down to his health. Like I said, if he's not healthy, if he struggles to stay on the court again next year, if you're the Thunder, you kind of have to throw that. You have to throw that idea around of maybe if Giannis is still in Milwaukee, drawing up a Giannis trade, or just finding something, because if you're the Thunder, you have all these picks. You can't afford to pay somebody upwards of $200 million if they're only going to play 50, 60 games a year. And now with the awards cap at 65, if you're not hitting that 65, he's not going to be eligible for all defensive teams, defensive player, all NBA teams. So I think the biggest thing is health. And when we look at Chet, you had the first season, he wasn't there. He injured in the offseason. That first full rookie season with the Wemby rookie season, you had that Rookie of the Year race, was phenomenal that year. Then you come into this year, gets off to about 15 games, he was averaging 22 and 10, and we were like, okay, this is the jump that we were looking for. And then he gets injured on that Andrew Wiggins pushover with that hip. So, and then that gets him out for about a third of the regular season. So, for me, I just think that I do think the Thunder will keep him. I think he can prove himself. Right now in the postseason, he's averaging 16 points, 8.5 rebounds, nearly 2 blocks. So it's not like he's been absolutely horrid, and he's had games where he's been the difference maker. And like I said, I believe if he can play to how he knows he can, he'll be the X factor in this series if we want to win this finals. And I mean, that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I kind of want to know what you guys thought on it. I just feel like it's being kind of thrown around because in Game 3, Miles Turner was just out hustling him and out muscling him, and it just felt like he was he's only 23. It just felt like he wasn't prepared for that kind of intensity on the road and all that. But we'll kind of talk more about that as we get into more of the off season and kind of get more details on what the Thunder might be looking at come draft night and all of that stuff. But coming back to the NBA Finals, I kind of want to talk about why I believe Hartenstein hasn't been getting the minutes he deserves in these finals. Like most of us have seen, they decided to start Kason Wallace over Hartenstein in game one of the series. Before that, before all three Western Conference series, Hartenstein was starting, and we were running the double big lineup with Chet at the 4, J-Dub at the 3, Dort at the 2. And now we switch back to this. We switch to where Wallace is out there and Hartenstein's coming off the bench. And it's not necessarily, I don't dislike that move. I think it's a fine move. I would probably start Caruso if I was to take Hartenstein out. But Hartenstein has not played the right amount of minutes to me, especially when you look at the Thunder's lack of ball handling and assists. It feels like the only guy that is racking up assists or like getting other people involved is Shea, and sometimes he struggles with that. So whenever you don't have Shea out there, it just feels like it's a lot of ISO ball. There's not a lot of movement around. But whenever you get Hartenstein out there, that's when he starts he's using those pick and rolls. He'll get the ball. He makes those bounce passes into the lane that look nearly impossible, but he squeaks it through. And it seems like every time him and Caruso are out there, you book it for at least 2 assists to Caruso for 3 because they kind of have that experience. They know how to roll off the ball, and Caruso how to pop to get Hartenstein that assist. But Hartenstein just hasn't played a lot to my liking in this. And I've almost noticed that like when Miles Turner comes out, that's when they're not allowing Hartenstein in, which is weird because, as I just said, Chet's kind of been, he's been getting dogged on a little bit by Miles Turner with that muscle and size. So I'm curious to the reason of why we're not playing Hartenstein more. I don't know if it's like a possible health issue. Maybe that's why he's not starting or even playing big minutes, but I feel like something would come out of it by now about that. So I'm curious to why I believe he can be a big contributor. He can get the ball movement going. He makes amazing passes, obviously big body for the rebounds and all of that. So, I mean, that's one of my keys as we transition to the keys of the game. I think OKC does need to play Hartenstein more. I think you got to see a lot more bench contribution like last game, the bench getting outscored 49-18. That's not going to happen again. I know the Thunder bench is going to come out ready to go. I have a feeling we're going to be in for a big Caruso game. We're going to have Hartenstein. I think he should get big minutes. I mean, he hasn't yet, but we'll see how that plays out. And I'm interested to see what Mark Dagnall runs in the bench unit because you know your 2 guys, Caruso and Hartenstein, will play. It seems like Aaron Wiggins is kind of that third option off the bench because now you have Wallace starting, so Wallace isn't on that bench unit. So it feels like Wiggins and Joe are the 2 that he's kind of using. And like I said, Joe was 2 for 2 last game in 4 or 5 minutes before he didn't play again. So Dagnall just needs to be a bit more careful on these rotations, kind of get a feel of you don't have to run regular season minutes. I feel like Dagnall's so set on this is what we ran in the regular season. We're going to run it until it doesn't work. And, well, we're down 2-1 and it's not working. So I feel like another key to the game is, just kind of slowing down Tyrese Haliburton. We saw him last game. He was a rebound shy from a triple-double. So I think you have to kind of go back to the drawing board of we need to slow Tyrese down. Also, you got to be aware of Benedict Mathurin had 27 points last game, so that momentum might keep him going with only a day's rest in between games. So for me, it's a lot on the bench today, a lot on how to slow down their offense of Tyrese Haliburton. Siakam's hard to stop. He'll probably end up with your 15 to 20 points like always, but you just kind of and you got to control the board on the offense and defensive end. You got to limit those second chance shots because there was a possession in the third game where the Thunder legitimately let them have 5 shots and it ended up on that last shot being a corner 3. So you have to find a way to get those boards, limit them to a miss, and get the ball out and going in transition. And I just feel like that's a big component of how the Thunder want to play and how they need to play if they want to come back in this series. And kind of my predictions for this game tonight, I wholeheartedly believe, you might have seen it on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith, and I kind of agree with him. I believe whoever wins this game is winning the series. If the Pacers win this, you're growing up 3-0. It's insanely hard to come back 3-1. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but the way this Pacers team has been playing, it's just going to feel like near impossible. And on the Thunder side of things, if they even this series up 2-2, like most people thought it would be a split in the first four, and if the Thunder even this series at 2, it makes it a best out of 3, and you have that 2 out of 3 at home and Game 5 at home with that momentum going back to Oklahoma City where you go up 3-2 and you're 1 win away. So my predictions for tonight, I just feel like in Games 4, the Pacers are 3-0, Thunder are 3-0 in Games 4s as well, so it's kind of like nobody knows how to lose a Game 4, but we know how the Thunder are after losing a game in the postseason. It just feels like after a loss, they clicks in their head, they kick it into another gear that it's time to win a game. And I feel like they're going to come with that mindset. Now they've played inside that arena in Indiana. They know what they're getting themselves into. They didn't play in Indiana. They played it at all once, and it was very early on in the season when they played in Indiana, and that was when Indiana was still trying to figure things out on the defensive and offensive end. But it just feels like this is a clash of titans in this. Both teams are undefeated. The Thunder are Pacers are amazing at home. Thunder are really good following a loss. They've lost two back-to-back games all year. That's all they've done. They are 17-2 when following a loss in all season long, including the postseason. So with those, I just feel like I feel like we're in for a game where Shea's just going to quietly put up, you can't quietly put up 40, but it's about as quiet as you can. I feel like Shea's going to have one of those games where he's getting to his spots, he's going to get to the line about 10, 12 times, and it just feels like he's going to kind of, every time the Pacers kind of feel like they're inching back in, Shea's going to kind of hit that mid-range shot to kind of dial down the crowd. And I think we're in for a 5-6 point game again. This series has been amazing, and for everybody who was saying this series is going to be boring, the ratings, blah, 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 who cares? If you look, 2 out of these 3 games have been all-time games. And this is a great brand of basketball, and I can't wait to watch. I'm going to be stressed out of my mind tonight watching this game, because if the Thunder lose, it's going to be heartbreak. But I have the utmost confidence. I have a feeling we're going to have a big game from Shea. I have a feeling that Caruso is going to come up big in a couple of big threes. I think J-Dub's going to continue to score 20-plus points, and the Thunder are going to pull it out, and we're going to be in for we're going to be going back to Oklahoma City 2-2, and we're going to be having a chance to have an all-time NBA Finals. But let me know what you guys think down below, what your thoughts are on this game and the series moving forward. Game 4, once again, is tonight at 7:30 Central Time on ABC, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.